Hello, friends. This is Joe Lynch from the Logistics of Logistics, but today I'm not at home. Today I am at Trimble Insight in Las Vegas, and today's topic is thriving in a down market with my friend Cyndi Meurrens. Cyndi, please introduce yourself and your company, where you're calling from. Oh, where you're normally calling from today. I know where you're at today. You're in Las Vegas with me, but where you normally live.
Absolutely. I am Cyndi Meurrens. I'm with H&M Trucking out of Omaha, Nebraska. So kind of right in the middle of the country and in the thick of everything, I suppose.
Very nice, very nice. So who does H&M Trucking serve? Who are your main customers?
We actually have so many different types of commodities and customers that we serve and that we haul for. We have both a van trailer division and hopper bottoms. Hopper bottoms, we haul grain and feed and all those types of things within our hoppers. And vans, we try to cater to just about any type of market or industry, so that we can handle anything that you might have.
Well, given you're in Nebraska and you do those hopper bottoms, I never even heard of that. So that is for grain or corn or what?
Yes, agricultural type products. So grain, corn, we do animal feed is a lot of what our products are through there as well. So anything that can be hauled in bulk, if you will.
Got it.
That's more or less what can go into a hopper bottom trailer.
And bulk is a little dangerous because I know sometimes we have a higher standard for food and also higher standard for anything moving in bulk. So you guys have additional safety concerns with that kind of equipment.
Absolutely. You have to have many different certifications, things like that, all of which H&M has to be able to haul those type of products.
Yep. And you said you also have a new freight brokerage division.
We do. We started it about a year and a half ago. It's called JFL Logistics. And those guys are working really, really hard over there to be able to grow a brokerage department so that we can assist additional customers, even if we don't have the assets readily available to be able to handle product. We can certainly still get it hauled for you through our brokerage.
Well, I think a lot of trucking companies end up with brokerages because you want to be able to serve even when you don't have a truck, but also you want to make sure you get the right backhauls, which is always a hassle. And I know I worked at a trucking company, and before they had a brokerage, they were always calling the other brokerages around saying, hey, we got a truck that's going to be coming back empty. Help us out. And then once you call them, they will call you for the rest of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're getting obviously some business that's new business, extending the business with existing customers, and you're also, is that helping the backhauls? I'm just curious because you're doing it day to day.
Absolutely, yes. If we need something covered, we can always contact JFL to say, hey, can you see if there's any freight out there to handle that?
Yep. I can tell you from a sales perspective, it's always nice to say we have trucks. Everyone just assumes you're going to move it on your trucks, but you're probably not going to.
Right, exactly. And H&M, we really do try to haul everything on our own trucks. But
right.
JFL is building their own customer base so that they're kind of operating within themselves as well, so that they can handle, if someone else, customers have orders or loads that they need hauled, then JFL is taking those and they're finding the right fit carrier for that product and for that load.
Yep. So I've been doing a lot of interviews here. You're the last interview I'm doing at Trimble Insight, and you are the first customer. Because I've been talking, when you go out there, it's kind of crazy at the event floor. All those people partner with, or mostly they partner, some compete a little bit in some places with Trimble. But you're a Trimble customer, and today's topic is thriving in a down market. And so I want to talk first about this down market. It seemed, just from an outsider's perspective, it seemed like it kind of kicked in sometime after COVID, that high of COVID where everyone was making a lot of money, and then all of a sudden it just seemed like it just stopped on a dime.
Yes.
Is that how it felt to you guys?
Absolutely.
And so all of a sudden you see all this business just drop off almost like within a month?
Yeah, a few months, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of what was in play with that downturn was also that, especially for long haul type companies like what we do, we run all 48 states and Canada with our van division. I think a lot of it is that a lot of companies were looking for other places to get products that were closer to where they were, so they didn't have the cost of the transporting something across the country. So that took a downturn because our orders and that the mileage on them really reduced, kind of overnight, and that's.
But before we hit record, you were saying you guys are doing well, and so and of course you're at Trimble, so I know you use Trimble products, and you were explaining to me before we hit the record button that one of the reasons you guys have done so well is you were working with Trimble, and we'll go over the different ways, but early on in some of the keynotes speeches, we heard that the transportation industry is willing to spend more on tech over the next few years. I mean, I think it's up 60-some%.
Yes.
And it's kind of crazy because if you think about trucking companies traditionally, they're buying trucks. Trucks are expensive. Keeping trucks on the road are expensive. It's not a high margin business. So to some extent, somebody could kind of do the cop out and say, hey, we can't afford all this tech because we're not a high margin space. But the companies that are thriving, like H&M, are making those investments. And I will say, more than just making investments, and it's an overused word, but you're partnering with a leader in the space, which is Trimble.
Sure.
So talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Truly, technology is going to be what helps someone in the transportation department or industry thrive. It's because technology is what helps you to be efficient. Without technology, you don't have the insight as to where all of your trucks are to be able to provide that feedback to customers, which they are requiring more and more. You're able to better plan your trucks so that you're not driving quite as far to get to the next load. There are so many things, and the automation and AI innovations that technology companies are coming up with, especially Trimble, is just astounding at what this technology can do now. And it truly is the backbone of a company. It's every bit as important as having a driver behind that wheel. You have to be able to, manage that driver.
Right. Yeah, and what's interesting is throughout the conversations I've had today and yesterday with a number of Trimble executives, including the CEO and a few of the vice presidents, the message that comes out loud and clear is we need to make a world that is better for the drivers.
Correct.
And we also have to make a world that is better for the carriers. It is so common now just to hear how difficult it is as a driver, but also all these carriers, we are very flippant about the idea that, hey, some armies need to leave the field. Some companies need to go away, or some shed some trucks so there's not as much supply, so the market goes back up. We take that just as for granted, like it's not our business, it's somebody else's business. Well, it is H&M's business. There are companies who've made significant investments in assets, not just assets, but also the tech. I think, I guess we can all call each one of these investments because you are making money from them.
Absolutely.
So it's not just cost, but we keep hearing also that this downturn, which started right after COVID, I always ask people on my podcast, hey, when's this going to end? And they'll say, oh, the end of 2023, third quarter, fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden it was 2024, first quarter. And now I'm hearing 2025 if the larger economy doesn't go bad. But as a business person, you can't just say the market's going to turn. It's like saying I'm only going to be happy on days that the sun's out. That works here in Vegas.
Right.
Doesn't work in Michigan
Right.
or Omaha.
Yeah.
But this is just the weather. So
Right.
we have to thrive in all weather. So I know before we hit record, we talked about some of the tools you guys are using from Trimble. So the first one I want to talk about is the TMW suite, which is the Trimble TMS. I think I heard somebody else say it at this conference. It's the backbone of your business.
It is. Absolutely it is. It's houses the database of your customers. It's your entire dispatch system. That's where you live when you handle day-to-day operations is within that. Handles your invoicing and all of that. And there are so many pieces. In fact, all of the other pieces that you have, your mapping systems, everything integrate right into that TMW suite system. So that you can be more efficient, which of course saves your company time and money, and just continues to help you provide what the customers are requiring, which seems to be more and more every day.
Yeah. So I know there's when I think about a freight broker, they'll have a TMS. A lot of shippers will have a TMS. I never think of so much the carriers having a TMS, but you say this is the backbone of your business. What about managing like the truck, the fleets? Is that you doing it all through the
Absolutely.
TMW?
Well, what TMS stands for Transportation Management
Right.
System. So we have to manage the transportation of our vehicles. So absolutely, yes. It's you have your dispatch board in there. That's where you have all of your orders or your loads in there. Your tractors are in there, or your trucks. Being able to match the loads with the trucks and just manage the entire life cycle of an order.
Yeah.
Through that.
It's I don't think TMW does, but I don't think every TMS out there. It feels like there's 1,000 of them.
Oh, there are. There are.
Not all of them come from this place. They're coming from a brokerage place. I don't think Trimble's not against brokerage. Clearly, they're partnering with a lot of them, but I don't think they're coming more from the asset owner space. So that's going to be I'm assuming their TMS is going to reflect that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the other TMS systems that are out there they're trying to emerge into that market, but I definitely think you're right on that they're more brokerage focused. And honestly, Trimble I think has such a good balance between both asset side and brokerage side with different tools, and they have many different types of TMS systems to be able to handle each of those. TMW Suite's just one of them.
Yeah, well, they have Transporion, which is very much the shipper focus,
Right.
And it started as a European company, but it's expanding into the U.S. with the Trimble acquiring it.
Sure.
Well, what's interesting is I talk to a lot of TMS companies, and they always say, "Oh yeah, it's for shippers, or it's for brokers, or it's for carriers." Very seldom do I hear them say it's for carriers. So I'm excited to hear more about that later on.
Sure.
So you also are using their Expert Fuel. Please
Yes.
elaborate. What is that?
Okay, Expert Fuel, which, mind you, is probably my favorite product that Trimble has. What Expert Fuel does is it is a system, it's a fuel optimization system. It allows you to track all of your fuel purchases within there, send out what they call fuel solutions to drivers, which gives them a route that they need to follow, the fuel stops they need to fuel at, because the entire system, it does all of the calculation in the background, where you can set it to be more time focused or cost focused, or however you want that set, so that it'll find we have ours set for the most cost efficient route. And that's not always just about fuel costs. It's also about toll cost. It's about time. It's about mileage. It's about all of that. And the system does that all in the background and figures out this is the best route for this order, and will send that solution to the driver, tell them where they need to fuel, how many gallons to put on, all of that. And then as soon as you have a fuel network, which is going to be your large fuel stops, your pilots and loves and that type of thing. When they hear that a company has a fuel optimization system, then they are quick to put together a discount program for you with significant discounts. The very first year that we implemented Expert Fuel, we saved about $500,000, about $500,000 over what retail fuel was posted at that first year. And now, being in it, I think we've been in about 10 to 12 years now, and we're averaging about $2 million in savings every year over retail fuel costs at the time, just by using Expert Fuel, because we have the savings coming in. We're telling the drivers where the most cost-efficient place is to fuel, the routes, all of that.
Now, is that all within their telematics, so they're being informed as they drive?
It's actually sent out in a fuel solution right when they're beginning their trip.
So it's part of PC Miler, and it just kind of...
It uses PC Miler to map them and sends them the routing, sends them the fuel stop they need to stop at, and does all of that configuration in the background.
Yeah, as we see carriers leave the market, or other carriers just say, hey, we got rid of a lot of trucks, or we didn't re-up the lease on a truck, the difference between winning and losing is a discount that saves you $2 million over.
Correct.
Over what the rest of us
Yes.
pay. Now, I'm just curious, would small carriers not have a discount?
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely, they would have a discount. Again, as soon as the big networks hear that there is an optimization system in play there, if any carrier can reach out to them and say, hey, we have a fuel optimization system here. We'd like to get on your discount program. They will set that up and start sharpening their pencils, and that's what we love to tell them. Our executive vice president Dale Cook loves to say, "Sharpen your pencil," and boy, they come back and they do so, and it shows within our savings.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you got the TMW suite, which is your TMS. That's the backbone of your business.
Correct.
And then you've got this Expert Fuel, which saves you $2 million a year.
Yes.
And
Astoundingly.
That's all right to the bottom line. And then you also use TMT maintenance.
Correct. Yes.
What is that?
It is the system that handles all of our repairs on our trucks and trailers, all of that, all of our equipment. We have our own shops here or at our terminal, but it can also handle all of the repairs and that are handled by other third-party vendors, dealerships, things like that, where you can enter in, you have your whole database of parts, all of that, so that you can keep track of all of your costs of repairing the trucks, because that is a significant cost in the transportation world. And it just helps you manage all of those things and be able to take a look at a vehicle if you're having exorbitant maintenance or repairs to a specific vehicle. You can track all of those type of things and be able to say, hey, we need to boot this one out or trade this one away or whatever that you need to do with that. There's so many different facets to TMT maintenance. It's a fantastic product, and we're using the SaaS platform for TMT maintenance, which is the web version of that, which helps tremendously because you just go to a website and it's right there. So
now I'm learning this week at Trimble.
Sure.
So I heard they have I think some sort of digital inspection system that is tied to their maintenance tool, this TMT, and so you have to do those inspections ahead of time for
Correct.
the trucks. And I think what they're trying to get to, and maybe you guys are already there, what they're trying to get to is, let's not put a car or truck on the road that is going to break down in 200 miles when it's away from us. Let us be proactive about our repairs. Are you taking that route?
The tools that we have, of course, we have within our system, our ELD system kind of integrates with all of that and plugs into the ECM within the truck, which is the electronic control module, into the truck, and it's able to deliver that type of data from the truck. Different faults, all of those type of things that go off, so that it can tell you, hey, that we need to get this truck in for service, or there's a problem here that needs to be looked at, and then our shop personnel or people in the office or our mechanics are able to contact the driver at that point saying, hey, we need to get you into a shop. It looks like we're having this type of a problem, before it becomes a major problem and with a lot larger breakdown.
Yeah, I'm an automotive guy originally, so I spent a lot of time in product development. We used to say, yeah, it's a walk-home scenario.
Yeah,
and,
I love that. That's fantastic.
And when we have a walk-home scenario here, where you say that truck is loaded and it's supposed to deliver somewhere, and because we weren't proactive about it.
Right.
Now and by the way, things happen. This is,
of course,
life's not perfect, but if that driver should be stranded on the side of the road, obviously it's a safety issue. It's the truck if it's loaded, it's got valuable stuff in it.
Right.
It's going to be late. Who knows what problems that
Right.
cause? But also, your truck could be out of commission for a week.
Yeah.
Because you've got to get that towed somewhere.
Right.
And they might not have the parts. So the idea of how do we keep our companies profitable, we have to be proactive, but we're trying to get those trucks and the trailers utilized.
Yes.
And they aren't utilized if they're sitting in a parking lot waiting for a part 200 miles from my terminal.
That's right. That's right. It also helps with customer service, though, because if we can be proactive, and if that truck does need to go into the shop and going to be there for a while, then our shop can contact dispatch, and we can then work to line up another truck to go and pick up that trailer or pick up that load to be able to make sure that we get that taken care of for our customer.
So we talked about the TMW, which is the backbone of your biz. We talked about the fuel discount, the extra fuel, which is saving you a ton of money.
Yes.
Talked about the TMT maintenance, which is, again, it's just helping you keep fully utilizing your assets, making more money. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is PC Miler and mapping. And I was lucky, I talked to Rishi, the vice president of mapping today. It's kind of a revelation because we kind of, at this 1 minute, take mapping for granted. Because I can use Waze. We all can. It just seems almost like everyday technology, but there's a big difference between professional grade mapping solutions that you need and that Trimble provides, and the Waze or the Google Maps that I'm using at home.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
So talk about how is that helping you guys thrive in this down market?
Okay. Well, of course, any trucking company, that's your entire business is,
Miles.
Travel, miles, transport, all of that. You have to be able to have a mapping system to be able to manage not just where your trucks are, but the mileage, because that's how you're billing your customer. That's how you're paying your drivers.
It is the standard in this
Yes, you're
space.
doing all of that via mileage. Well, you have to have a system, first of all, that provides good mileage in different ways. So it can provide mileage if you're going to use shortest mileage or practical or highway or whatever, and PC Miler does that efficiently.
It's funny, one of the things, when I was talking to Rishi earlier, he said that we're mapping drivers to safe parking lots. We're telling them, hey, you can go to this parking lot that's secure. Well, the mapping is also part of the discount for the fuel. So we'll map you to the right locations for fuel. And I said earlier today that we don't have enough, well, whether we have enough women in the business or not, many women will not come into this business because you say, I'm going to be on the road, that's hard enough. But you can't guarantee my safety. And if you're sleeping in a parking lot at Walmart because you can't find somewhere to park, that's not safe.
Right.
And
that's another feature of Expert Fuel, where you can actually disable specific fuel stops if you need to, if you know that this is not a safe place for our drivers or our equipment, that you can disable it and then it will not send drivers to that location. So that's a fantastic part. With PC Miler, I did want to make another point with that, is that you had mentioned like Google Maps and Waze and things like that, which are great for just a normal driver and person on the road. But it doesn't, those usually don't map for low bridges. for
Right.
truck routes, for hazmat routes, all of those type of routes that are needed within trucking or transportation.
Right.
But a system like PC Myler has all of that. It is imperative that a transportation company is using a mapping system built for the transportation industry.
Well, and PC Miler is in every contract. So,
Yes,
so
correct.
when somebody says, "Oh yeah, it's 800 miles from here to there," you're like, "I can't be off 20 miles because I'm getting paid by the
Right.
miles, and we can't have a dispute about it." So we have a standard, which is PC Miler. I will also say this. I mentioned this earlier in my conversation with Rishi that when we're talking about mapping technology, so I use Waze. I go to see my mom. I'm in Michigan. We do construction this time of year. And every once in a while I have to take a different highway. It's, a little out of my way, but it's nice to know ahead of time. The difference is I can be a half hour late coming to see my mom.
Yeah.
If you're a driver, being a half hour late means I might hit Chicago traffic.
Right.
And now I'm 2, 3, 4 hours off, and now I'm going to deliver late. The difference is significant if you don't have the right tools directing you around way in advance. Tell me an hour before so I can get off and bypass
Sure.
that traffic jam.
Sure. Yeah.
And again, I think the whole Midwest, every fall, it's like it gets bombed out. It's like they're rebuilding it.
Yes, I agree. They're trying to do every project and get it all done before winter hits.
Yep. So I know I don't have you for long, Cyndi. So
It's
I
okay.
will wrap this up. I want to also kind of just throw this out. I went to Michael Kornhauser spoke yesterday morning, and he talked about what Trimble's customers want from Trimble. And I really liked it. I thought it was really significant. He says they want growth. They are all looking to growth.
Yes.
And again, you guys are thriving in this market. Second, he talked about compliance. If you are not compliant in this business, you are not in this business.
That's correct.
It is, you get enough black marks on your name, you don't get to play anymore. Efficiency, that's what we've talked all throughout here.
Right.
How do we spend our money more efficiently? We keep our drivers more efficient. And last, and certainly not least, is safety. Companies like yours can't do well if they aren't safe with the drivers.
Correct.
Not only is it expensive, but that is probably the healthcare cost. The worst part of it is trucking companies are like families, and if you have injuries because of accidents because you're not safe, you don't have a business for long.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, Cyndi Meurrens, after talking to you about thriving in a down market, I am going to summarize the best I can, and then I want to get your final thoughts on the topic. So again, we're talking about H&M Trucking and your partnership with the fine folks over at Trimble, and you guys are using Trimble in 4 different ways, probably more than that.
Yeah.
But the main big,
With a lot of the smaller
big 4.
tools, sure.
And so you're using their TMS, which you say is really the backbone of your business. And like, not all TMSs are built for fleets. Some are built with brokers and minder shippers in mind.
Sure.
Next, you're using Expert Fuel, which has saved you $500,000 right off the bat, $2 million a year. That's fantastic. And that's the difference between winning and losing right now. You talked about their maintenance tool, keeping your trucks moving and your drivers from unplanned maintenance. And then last but not least, we talked about PC Miler and the mapping tool, keeping you safe, keeping you on track, helping you avoid low bridges, unsafe truck stops, and a million other inconveniences on the road. Cyndi, put a big old bow on this one. Final thoughts.
Okay, well, out of the points that you had mentioned over there, a couple things where you'd mentioned compliance. And I did want to mention that compliance goes further than just safety or anything like that. It's also customer compliance.
Yes.
Every customer has requirements of a carrier. They want to make sure they're getting their bill of ladings within an hour after delivery, or they want tracking,
Proof of delivery,
all of that. They want that readily available to them. Without technology, it's almost impossible to do that. You would need to have one person for every driver in operations.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have a beautiful package and suite of products that work so simultaneously together to drive that efficiency and all of that. When it can provide all of those things to that customer, then those customers are going to stay with you. They're going to pay for that service when you can provide that service. And that's what H&M really prides ourselves on, is our customer service and being able to provide all of those tools and options to those customers, whether it be EDI integration or integration with some other third-party tracking that the customer requires, things like that. So we really do our best, and technology has really helped with that, and a lot of the innovations that Trimble has come up with to be able to do that. And then again, using things like TMT and expert fuel to be able to reduce and help the bottom line for H&M just helps everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's one of my key takeaways for this whole week. I've done a whole bunch of interviews. Is when you say ELD, it's so much more than an ELD now. And when we say telematics, it's like, okay,
Right.
it's just kind of generic. And now I think in terms of this is the tech stack for the driver.
Yes.
And what we want is a tech stack that is easy to use, because he or she is not supposed to be touching tech.
Right.
They're supposed to be driving.
Correct.
And what I've learned also is Trimble is able to pull information from all these different systems.
Yep.
So they are minimal amount of clicks while they're on the road.
that is correct. That is correct.
Pulled over on the side of the road, I should say.
Automation is absolutely the future. It's the way everything is going, to where everything can just be automated. Those drivers need to be driving. They do not need to be focusing on the tech in the truck or anything like that. So the more automated we can make things, the better for us, for safety, for compliance, for the drivers, for everyone that's involved. So
I love it. Cyndi, thank you so much for taking the time.
of course.
And thank all of you for listening to my podcast. Your support's very much appreciated. Until next time, onward and upward. You have been listening to the Logistics of Logistics podcast, where we engage with leaders in the logistics and supply chain community. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave us a nice review on Apple or Spotify or wherever else you listen. Also, please check out our videos on YouTube and connect with us on LinkedIn. We're very big on LinkedIn. And you can also reach us on the logisticsoflogistics.com, our website.